Welcome to this explainer. The kitchen is officially open. I am your master auditor, and today we are stepping right behind the curtain to do a complete grade makeover kitchen audit. We are going to reveal exactly what Cambridge examiners are aggressively looking for when they grade your AS level Afrikaans language paper 2. Take a moment to let that sink in. Whether you are aiming to push a borderline passing grade into a premium, top-tier band, or you just want to feel completely in control when that intimidating exam clock starts ticking down, you are absolutely in the right place. We are going to totally decode the specific strategies that separate the merely acceptable, undercooked responses from the truly exceptional Michelin star quality ones. And we are doing this using the most direct, unfiltered, and ruthless tool we have at our disposal, the examiner's very own reports. Let's throw this text right onto the chopping block. Look at this direct warning off the bat. This quote comes straight from the principal examiner reports, and it exposes exactly where students are bleeding marks unnecessarily. When I look at a raw essay text, I can immediately spot a sour response string. It is rarely a simple lack of Afrikaans vocabulary or basic grammar that trips candidates up. No, it is the fundamental architecture of how they tackle the exam itself that leaves a bad taste in the examiner's mouth. When candidates consistently confuse key terminology, their technique completely derails. And because their technique is off, their heat control, their time management, utterly collapses. They end up spending 20 agonizing minutes answering a question that only carries 5 marks, completely burning the rest of their paper and leaving high-value questions entirely blank. That is a recipe for disaster. So, our core mission in this explainer is incredibly simple but absolutely crucial. We are going to fix that structural foundation. We are going to demystify the grading process and equip you with the exact recipe you need to maximize your score under intense time pressure. We will break down exactly how to structure your answers so that you are practically handing the examiner the marks on a silver platter. By the time we finish this audit, you won't just be answering questions. You will be engineering highly targeted, perfectly plated responses that actively max out the examiner's scoring criteria on our virtual Michelin dashboard. Section 1, the core assessment objectives. Now, notice how this donut chart visualizes the specific brain power Cambridge expects from you. Look at our Michelin dashboard dials ticking up. These are the 3 distinct cognitive domains you must master: knowledge and understanding, analysis, and evaluation. Let me tell you about 2 apprentices in my digital kitchen workshop, Alex and Sam. Alex is the cook who overcomplicates the recipe. Alex just dumps massive piles of raw, unanalyzed factual definitions onto the page. That is only hitting the very first slice, knowledge. You cannot just serve raw produce. To unlock the higher marks, you have to demonstrate competence across all 3 of these interconnected domains. You need the analysis to cook the facts down into clear arguments, and crucially, you need the evaluation, the expert seasoning. Evaluation means actively judging the author's tone, questioning the context, and weighing the validity of the arguments presented. The stark difference between these 2 approaches brilliantly illustrates the gap between a raw, descriptive paragraph and a perfectly balanced evaluative argument. Remember our apprentices? Alex relies on superficial breadth, overloading the layout with heavy terminology but no logic string. Sam, on the other hand, is a fast cook who rushes the preparation steps. Sam creates beautiful sentence presentation, lovely handwriting, but completely forgets to include the core analytical ingredients demanded by the question's command words. Missing a command word cuts out the core seasoning of your essay, losing you literally 60% of the available mark yield instantly. Cambridge's academic benchmarks rigorously prioritize analytical depth and logical reasoning over superficial breadth. In the exam room, you should absolutely not waste precious minutes writing endless, shallow paragraphs trying to cover every possible angle. The examiners want to see you take a few highly relevant points and cook them down deep with structured, logical reasoning. Depth always wins. Section 2, Top Examiner Warnings. Welcome to the interactive viewer taste test arena. We are going to spot the poison sentences that keep students out of the top tier. The principal examiner reports reveal these 3 massive health code violations. First, confusing cause and effect. This happens when you mix up the heat source with the cooked dish. For example, if an Afrikaans text discusses how a severe drought led to economic hardship, candidates often write a flawed, poisoned sentence claiming the struggling economy somehow caused the drought. Second, ignoring format. If a question asks for a formal letter and you serve up a magazine article, you lose marks instantly. It's like serving soup on a completely flat plate. And third, providing answers that are purely generic rather than highly specific to the context given. You cannot use a prepackaged, canned recipe when the examiner is asking for a custom order based on the stimulus text. Section 3, the method mark strategy. To avoid those exact traps, we need to shift our focus to the method mark strategy, or what I call the three-step ingredient prep. In Paper 2, marks are heavily awarded for your systematic process, not just arriving at the final correct answer. Your data interpretation skills must follow this strict progression. First, you must accurately extract the raw data from the texts or tables. Second, you interpret the flavor profiles, the relationships between those pieces of information. What do they actually mean together? And finally, you draw clear, evidence-based conclusions. If you skip straight to the conclusion to save time, you are serving an undercooked dish, and you completely lose those vital process marks. You have to show your prep work, show your logic string, and let the examiner reward your method. Section 4, Standardized Procedural Framework. Okay, kitchen freeze. Stop exactly what you are doing. Before we unlock this 5-star paragraph structure to completely transform your final grades, we need to optimize your revision recipe. Take a single second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams and hit that notification bell so you never ever miss our weekly grade makeovers. Whether you are cooking up results at IGCSE, O-levels, or AS and A-levels, we have exactly what you need. All right, back to the pans. To avoid panic under pressure, you must use this heat control formula. It's a standardized 5-step sequence. First, identify the key elements, underlying the specific command words. Second, apply the relevant language principles to frame your approach. Third, execute your analysis with clear, logical steps. We are talking about the PEL structure here: point, evidence, explanation, link. It flawlessly blends your facts with your evaluation. Fourth, verify your results. Does it make sense? And fifth, present it beautifully.
I really want to emphasize that 5th step. Presenting your findings isn't just an afterthought, it is the pass-line review checklist. You must adhere to these strict plating conventions to satisfy the master auditor. Use proper headings to organize your thoughts. Apply the correct Afrikaans terminology instead of vague descriptions. Use the exact formats requested and provide clear annotations. Remember, examiners are grading hundreds of these papers. A beautifully structured, easy-to-read answer instantly maxes out the Michelin dashboard because it clearly and immediately demonstrates your competence and your deep respect for the academic format.
Section 5, Mastering Evaluative Thinking. Problem solving at the absolute highest level requires this precise 3-step methodology. First, you deconstruct the given information. Break the raw Afrikaans text down into its logical component parts. Then, you solve the prompt systematically, moving from point to point. But it's this 3rd step where the real magic happens. Evaluate and make justified recommendations. Let's look at our apprentices, Alex and Sam. In our digital kitchen, they are frantically trying to salvage a broken text block. Alex wants to just add more terms. Sam fights to build a direct analytical logic string to secure the high-tier marking bands before the kitchen timer hits empty. They realize that in a language paper, you have to judge an author's tone, assess the argument, and offer a judgment backed by textual evidence. They rewrite their thesis statement multiple times live, adjusting their approach to perfectly match the examiner's core parameters. Notice this ultimate definition of evaluative thinking. It means actively questioning assumptions, considering entirely different perspectives within the text, and justifying every single decision you make with hard, undeniable evidence. This definition captures exactly what top-scoring candidates do differently than the rest of the pack. They don't just blindly accept the raw text at face value, they interrogate the ingredients. They push back on the premise to show incredibly deep conceptual understanding. And they do this confidently, even when faced with completely unfamiliar context or obscure vocabulary in the high-pressure environment of the exam room. Now, I want to leave you with the ultimate insider secret, the secret sauce. The examiner reports explicitly state that integrating principles across different syllabus areas is what truly unlocks the highest marking bands. Do not treat your Afrikaans vocabulary, your grammar rules, and your reading comprehension skills as isolated, separate prep stations in the kitchen. Show the examiner that you can connect the dots. Blend the ingredients. Use advanced grammatical structures to enhance your reading comprehension answers. When you make these cross-topic connections, you prove that you've achieved a master chef level of holistic, working mastery of the language. So as we plate up our final dish for this explainer, I want you to look at your newly transformed response paragraph, watch your own Michelin dashboard meters max out to a perfect 100% score, and ask yourself this critical question during your very next past paper practice. Are my answers context-specific and evidence-based? Write this down on a sticky note and put it right on your desk. Thinking exactly like a senior examiner is the absolute fastest way to become a top-tier candidate. Focus intensely on your analytical depth, stick to your standardized framework to aggressively manage your time, and always, always evaluate. Before you leave the kitchen today, you must subscribe to AC Exams at the handle @AceTheExams,
Click that notification bell for our weekly grade masterclasses and drop a comment down below sharing exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCSE, O, AS, or A level, you are preparing to conquer next. Service.